What's up people on the internet? Hope you're having an amazing day. So my name is Kirsty, recently moved to Japan. Now my last video I did a tour of my apartment and I got a question asking from Hank Does Filmmaking, the process of how I got my apartment, which is a really good question as there's many things you might hear online about if you're a foreigner in Japan it's hard to get an apartment, which is true and false, but for me it was very easy because the job I am working with provided me my apartment. So when I landed, all I had to do was just sign some paperwork, give 10,000 yen for the house insurance, and then I got given my keys and then I moved in. So for me it was very easy. I highly recommend if you are gonna move to Japan or thinking about moving to Japan, try and find a job that will provide accommodation, as that will make your life 10 times easier and you won't have to worry on trying to find an apartment and won't have any of the hassle of you find a place you really like but the person who owns the building doesn't want to give to foreigners. And there's a good reason why Japanese people don't want to rent to foreigners, because they see foreigners as a flight risk. So I can completely understand their reasoning behind it, as they don't want to give their apartments to someone who is seen as a flight risk, who doesn't pay their bills or their months of rents, and then they fly back to their home country and never paying for the time they stayed in their flat. And for some people who live here, you know, their big income could be being a landlord, so if someone does disappear for months and don't pay their rent, you know, then that affects their lives. So I can completely understand why some people don't want to do it, and unfortunately there's just been enough foreigners that have done that, been the flight risk, obviously skipped back home, haven't paid their rent, so now we just unfortunately have this extra hassle of being a foreigner where they might not give it to you because you are seen as a flight risk. Where if you get a job in Japan where the company provides the accommodation, then landlords are much happy to give it to you because the company is then technically the collateral. So if you do happen to jump back home, the landlord still knows they're going to get paid because the company will pay for the flat. Obviously the company probably doesn't want to do it, but they will do it if someone did jump back home. So the company is seen as kind of the collateral if the foreigner did disappear, so they are much happy. Or to be fair, the company, they might own the buildings, so then they're much more happy anyway. So that's one thing I really recommend if you are going to move to Japan. Try and find a company that will give you accommodation. Obviously being a language teacher, most places will give you accommodation, so I really recommend being a language teacher if you enjoy teaching English. One thing to watch out if you are going to be a language teacher, depending on the company you are, you don't necessarily have a choice where they're going to stick you in Japan. It's a bit of a lottery, and a majority of the places will give you accommodation unless they put you in Tokyo. They will help you find an apartment, but you'll have to do the work of finding an apartment. They will give you a little bit of assistance, but you won't kind of land in Japan and they won't be like, here's the keys to your apartment. You have to go find it. And depending on the company, that is a big deal breaker for some people, because they get offered the job of being a language teacher out here, but the second they've seen they've had the Tokyo placement, they then pull out because they know they have to find an apartment. And for some people, they don't want to go through the hassle of finding a place in Tokyo. So that's kind of one thing to watch out. But yeah, for me it was a nice easy process, and maybe if I stay in Japan afterwards and no longer a language teacher, we might have a different tune, but so far it was really easy. And if you do want to come to Japan, I recommend being a language teacher. But one thing to watch out as well, since for me my apartment came fine, there was no damage, no nothing, it was all good. There's people I know who have got here and there's either problems with the flat, it was all either covered in mold, there was like water damage. If you have any problems with the flat, tell like your supervisor or the company you're with, and they should be able to provide assistance with either putting you in like temporary accommodation for when the issue is resolved, or they should be able to help you find a new apartment to live in. That's the biggest thing. If there's any issues, don't sit in silence, talk to someone, and they should be able to help you with the situation. But yeah, overall, this place was pretty easy for me to find, and I really love my apartment. I think it's really cute and really cozy. But that's just a quick video for today. If there's anything else you want to see about Japan or have any questions, let me know and I'll make a video. So I'll see you in the next Japan video. Make sure to like and subscribe and do all those things. So bye!